Hello, this is Scott Rosano with Gigbuilder.com. This is lesson number 115, and we're going into event basics. So far, we've done a lot of configuration in Gigbuilder, and now it's the point where we can start creating events. We can create events a number of ways, but the easiest way to do this is going to be on the calendar. We're going to look for, we've got a client on the phone for June 2023 on the 29th. I can see there's nothing on my calendar, but if I click here on the calendar on June 29th, 2023, it's showing me I've got an availability of 1. That happened when we did our setup. So if you need that, you can go look at the video on setup and how it works as far as the client systems and things like that. So I've got 1 available on the 29th, and I can from right here click create an event. I could also create a meeting on this date, which we did in a prior video. So we're going to create an event. And this is by no means the only way to create an event. It's not even the most popular way. It just happens to be one of the easiest ways. So in here, what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go over just the top section and the dates. I'm going to show you a few things about the event and how this works. On the top, you have a menu, and this menu takes you to different tabs within the actual event itself. Docs, staff, you can see as we're going along here. We can click through each one. We can also scroll through it, and as you can see the whole document. You see this scrolling across the past. So you've got that information there. On the side, you're going to have some information about the event, and this will start appearing with more detail as the event goes. And then inside the middle here is where all the data is. Now what we've done in Gigbuilder is we've color-coded some things. So blue is your basics, and that's all we're going to go over in this video series. When we get to the 200, 300, and 400 levels, we'll get into much more detail. But here it's just what you need to get an event into Gigbuilder and start tracking it. So with that, we'll start with event basics. Now on the event basics, you have your start date, which is automatic. Since we pulled it from the calendar, it already knew it was 7/29. I thought it was July. 7/29, 2023. The next section down we have is an event status. Now this is something very important in Gigbuilder, and I'll just show these all out on top for you. If you look above me up here, or it gets over that way, these are the status, and up until completed is pretty consistent. And let me show you how these work. New is a status that Gigbuilder gives to an event if somebody goes to your website and checks availability. You haven't seen it yet, therefore it's new. When you create one, by default, it goes to a lead. And a lead is just that. You're on the phone with somebody. You have no idea where this is going to go. Once you go from a lead status, you can then go into pursued, which is basically like a hot lead. So I've got these sitting over here. Some people, may not be real excited about the project yet. Others are. I move them to pursued. And once those are activated, and once we get to the point where we're going to send them a contract or they're ready to book, we change that to pending. And then Gigbuilder will automatically change it to confirmed. You can as well, if a signed contract is returned and under a few other things. Post-production is for any work that you do after the event, and then it goes to completed. And the rest of these statuses are what happened if we lost it. So basically we're going to be concerned about these, and today it's just going to be lead. The primary service you can ignore. Gigbuilder can provide multiple services, but in this basic video we're just doing our primary one, which in this case is DJ. If you're a photographer, it'll say photographer, etc. Next is type of event. In an earlier video, we went and created some event types. Those will appear here. And so in this case here, I'm going to select this up as a wedding reception. And what that does is it brings in all the defaults we created in prior videos as well. And you'll see this in the next video series as we go through the rest of this event. Lead rating. This is something that other people have asked for. Just, it's unlikely, strong, etc. It kind of just gives you an idea on the phone how hard you may want to work on that person. It's completely optional. The next section down is event modifiers. You can give it an event name. Now, what we'll normally do is give you the person's last name followed by the event type as a default. So if the last name of this client was my name, Rosano, then what you would say is Rosano Wedding Reception on date. If I give it a name, it will show this name instead. Greeting name, this is going to be used when greeting clients. This is used in a various number of things that you're going to see as we go through these video tutorials. You don't need to use it. Event ID, Gigbuilder generates a unique ID on the fly based upon how you did it in setup. This ID is used mainly for invoicing. We don't use it for much else, and it is completely optional. Then we have some things like loss explanation. These are just things that people have used to determine, what happened. Did you refer to somebody? Who was it booked by? It's going to give your name. Mine still says my old name, Rosenberg. You can color code it with different colors. So, for example, maybe you want all of your weddings to be a certain color so that you can see them a little bit better. Which gives me an idea. We probably ought to default that. And then public event. Is this a public event? And do you want to show it in a public calendar? Which, again, is an advanced feature, and we'll go into that at a later time. Next actions are advanced, and we will actually have a video just on that, as well as event tasks. And then contact controls for contact histories and things, which we will get into in another video. So at this particular point here, we've gone through the basics, and now we're going to scroll down to the time of event and important dates, and that will end this particular video. So you've got a start time and an end time. So this event here, she says it's going to be from 4 o'clock until 10 o'clock. And then Gigbuilder automatically knows it's 6 hours, so it figures all that in for you. Does it go over multiple days? Pretty much ignore that. It's good to go. Travel time is something we'll probably add later, but that gives us an idea how long. We don't even know where it is yet, so we're just going to leave that blank. Setup breakdown, leave it blank. Sunset time, leave it blank. This will automatically configure. Overtime, all this stuff will come up later, but not necessary on your first call. So in this particular case here, all we're concerned about is I've got a start time of 4, an end time of 10. That gives me 6 hours, and I'm going to leave the defaults for the time being. On this side are important dates. And we get into further videos, you're going to see where these dates can actually send information, emails, texts, etc., based upon those dates. So just understand that these are here and that you're going to be using these, and Gigbuilder is going to be automatically filling these as we go along with building the event. So you've got, like, for example, a contract sent. Once I have a date on that, I can then send an email 4 days after the contract was sent or whatever, letting them know they need to sign it. A lot of this cool stuff's going to come up a little bit later. So that's where we've gone in through, and we've gone ahead and created the basic information. We've filled out the event times. We've gone over a little bit about what the important dates are. In the next video, we're going to actually add a client and add a DJ or a performer. So at this point here, you've filled out the basics. I could go ahead and hit save and close. Gigbuilder will register it in the system. It will add everything that is necessary, and when it is completed, it'll take us back to the dashboard and look at that. Now you can see you have an event on your calendar for July 2023 on the 29th. That green shows you that there's an event in there, and there's your event, and that is color-coded as a lead. We'll get to those as well a little bit later. So you've got your first thing in there, you've got your first lead, you're ready to roll, and now you're ready for the next video. Let's go ahead and start adding people.